Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with BlackICE. And we're, of course, playing with, or as, England. Now, one thing I want to quickly get off the top here is I am recording this software not only with my new mic, but with different recording software with different sort of settings that I've tuned in for the audio, but also for the video portion compared to what I previously been doing for this, for Hearts of Iron, both 3 and 4. So feedback is important. Whether you think it's better or worse, video quality, sound levels, trying to get a little more sophisticated with some of that stuff as I'm learning more. So, one of the things I've sort of tuned to get rid of some of the background noise, and am I clipping? Meaning beginning and the ends of the words, are they not there? And you might say, well, why don't I just listen to it? Yeah, and I did notice some of that clipping, so I adjusted some of the settings. But I sort of know what I'm saying, and your mind sort of, fills some of that in for you. And so, and I also don't have time to listen to the full episode to notice if it's getting better or worse or whatever through the episode. So, so whatever feedback, just give sounds good, looks good, that's fine, or more detail, just so I sort of know what's going on, because you're the guys who are going to have to look at this and listen to it. And so that's who I need the feedback from, not from what I think is good or all right or good. We can zoom in here. This, the nice guys. I think the helmets are a bit too black. British helmets. They were sort of green, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they're quite that dark. I'll say Anzaru, really nice. Did this for me here. You may have seen the clip that I threw up a while ago. There are only 2 states, if I'm not mistaken, for Switzerland in standard Hearts of Iron 4, but they went and added 4. Now, I requested, and they did move this province from this state, it was part of this state, to this one. And you can sort of see why it needs to be part of this when you're down here, because this is sort of the mountain ridge right along there. So, geographically, it's more part of this region. The cantons in Switzerland are as small as the province or smaller, so if you were to divvy up states, it would be a much more idea. This up here is right about there, is where Davos is, I believe. Somewhere up in here. And that was sort of the heart of the German, not German speaking, but the German Nazi movement in Switzerland. And it was in a German majority province, German speaking majority province, I should say, there. And really only this province and this province are Italian speaking majority, or some of the Romansh languages, I believe, in here come up in, or maybe a bit more. But because of the state, mechanic, and the more and more I'm seeing it, the more and more I'm disliking it. I think the main reason they're sticking with it, other than just takes a, I know we're talking a bit here, but god awful amount of effort to change everything, is because of supply. I just don't like it. The state mechanic. I just want everything to go back to being provincial levels. And what I would just do is you go, oh, but there would be too many factories, or how many, are you going to either spread the factory out? Just go, okay, hey, let's go to a country that we can look at and see. Just go pick, okay, this is the only province of this state, shall we say, that has any appreciable factories in it, or something, or split between these two provinces, and just make some of these other areas. You can't build factories in it, because obviously these are already down at the provincial level, so fortifications, ports, and that kind of thing. So I would just really like to go back to a provincial level and just merge the functions of province and states one, because look at, now we have a state. It's one province big. It can be done. Now this has the ability to hold one state level building, but I would almost argue it doesn't even really be able to hold that. So the BlackICE guys are good provinces. Luxembourg, boy, I was blanking on that there for a second. So, but they were really nice. And why is this important? Well, I know all of you already know Third Reich events. I have massive be the right term, or just large expansion of the Swiss events for the Hearts of Iron 4 version of Third Reich events. They include a whole French track, which I just, because I was coding up originally, play it from Germany, didn't pay attention to what the French might do, but did some research into the French fascist movement and created some events around that for the for this part, so that a pro-fascist type French government can influence Switzerland to bring a more fascist government. Currently, the Germans also influence it to a fascist government, though in Hearts of Iron 3 they influence it towards a Nazi government, and then the Italians get to influence Switzerland, which has been always in Third Reich events. If you're only playing Germany, you don't see it. There is a chance, and there's just it's a percent chance, I forget, 30% chance that Italy puts real resources in trying to increase the amount of fascism support in Switzerland, which does this, in which if either Axis player conquers Switzerland, this part of Switzerland in 3, and now once we have something like this in 4, would go to Italy with cores, and this goes to Germany with cores. This is sort of I sort of look at that as sort of the Swiss redoubt, even though it is a German majority speaking region. No one gets cores here, so whatever manpower, hopefully this isn't boring you too otter talk, maybe I'll remember to put a thing in that beginning of this. You would get some of the benefits from whatever here, but in a non-core way. Germany, if it's fascist, if it's Axis controlled, Germany would get this province as well as this, unless the French are on the Axis. This would be a non-core region or German control. This, if France put in resources into it, we'd get cores here and the benefit there. Now, France also has the option with the Hearts of Iron 4 version to, if you will, stabilize Switzerland, because trying to, and as you all now know, and I haven't recoded this, I originally coded it up for the national unity metric and codes. Now, that's probably coming through. But national unity, now it would all go under stability. So the French fascists could influence it to increase instability, to lower stability levels, or it will be recoded. Basically the same thing, just got to change the wording around for this, because none of this affects war support. This part affects war support for Switzerland to defend itself. And this is the sort of the key difference is how strong is war support for, say, Switzerland holding out against attack from anybody versus how stable the nation is. So France could influence Switzerland to be more stable, which diminishes the ability for Nazi Germany or fascist Spain, or not Spain, fascist Italy to break Switzerland up if they wanted to, or if they were a fascist government. I think I don't know. I guess maybe I don't. I know that for the AI, if it's a non-fascist, they won't try to break it up, but they could try to break it up. And that way, if you were trying to go, Germany get those two states, Italy get that, and that. So that's all. Give you some info what I have sort of planned. Switzerland, which basically a couple of Swiss, but one Swiss guy I talked to a long time ago gave me some good tips on this and some sort of family history. What he sort of thought was going along with that. So not all the German-speaking people were heading towards wanting to be towards the Nazis, but if you look at some of where the most support, this is where they have. That's just how I've done that. So I'm really glad that Panzeroo. I just wish our team would do basically the thing and divide up more states. Okay, well, enough of that. Let's get to playing. I really think the Hearts of Iron, the Shadows. Hearts of Iron 3 map is, at least for where historically the war happened. I know we're here, but the Hearts of Iron 4 map does some of reducing the size of some of these because like all this is like one huge province or whatever, but these are still fairly large. Does a bit better job because like all of that is one province in Hearts of Iron 3. All three of those provinces are one province in Hearts of Iron 3. I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it's sort of important in a huge mega province. But here in 4, they've at least broken this up into, now it's still a mega state that's super way too big because Katanga out here, which is this sort of region, is ethnically very different from over here. And politically very different. Oh, and has almost zero physical contact paths between here and here. I mean, literally almost zero. There is some railway going through some of this, and I don't know all of it. But also, I think to get from here, you have to go up and around through the river, or otherwise there's too many cataphracts or massive waterfalls. Cataphract is sort of like a sort of just a single waterfall. It's sort of like a series and river wide, or like Niagara Falls, but smaller, sometimes larger if you go to Victoria or Victoria Falls. I mean, you're in part of road, but not like Victoria because that's. See, I sort of know my geography. But so this is a huge mega state that should, Katanga should be here. This part of the Congo really is this here. Then there's another part that's over and this region sort of here, but then this northern part and this northern part should be another one there. See, again, I sort of know my geography and how the Congo works. So yes, they've done a better job with doing some of the province in the non-combat zones of the world that were just, incredibly badly done with Hearts of Iron 3. But they haven't done nearly as good a job with Hearts of Iron 4. And if you look at the front, and I can look at the movements for Paul Gelb and coming through here with the various division movement size, and you can also similarly look at the Battle of the Bulge, German attack through here. And really one division doesn't really control one of these provinces. Actually control. They're mostly too big to do that. So I really think for the concentrated part of the war, you know, map things, the scale is much better on 3. So I'd really love, and maybe BlackICE is going to do this someday, and maybe, who knows, whatever, but whatever, maybe, who knows, that maybe someday the production team will, you know, the dev team will take in Hearts of Iron 3's, Hearts of our BlackICE's map. But it's really a merging of the BlackICE map from 3 and the Hearts of Iron 4 map for, again, the non-main warfront areas would be the best map, I think, possible within what we're doing. Obviously, we could make even many more provinces, you know, in beat Belgium, but at some point there's diminishing return. That you can keep it from being terrible, but you don't necessarily need it perfect. Okay, so we shadow scheme. We want to, well, no, do we want to do industrial? Let's just research, which is nice, but is Royal Ordnance Factories. Those are nice. Military factory. Yeah, ammunition. Yeah, we want to do that. I mean, just, I saw that, yes. That's useful, but is it worth 70 days? I don't know, but it's... research reduction is good. Now, IDK. One of the viewers, I'm hoping I'm getting the news right, was commenting that Bath was in the wrong location here. They should rename it Salisbury. Well, these, you know, they have to give them victory points. They have to give them a location so that they show up on the map. It's really just sort of provincial names. And yeah, I know. It could be better, maybe. At least they're sort of kind of getting it to the right 38, which means yes. Oh, good. Okay, so we have another naval or dockyard production ability. Yeah, might well. And okay. Good. Later. Any sub factor. Yeah, one's okay. Well, let's go with another. Here we can go down to the handy list. One sub. Heavy aircraft, we could use some more. Light aircraft. You can always use more of anything, of course. Uniform factory. Always a fan of everyone. Makes icons, but alright. A quick combination of quick recognition and accurate. How are we doing equipment? This is a really nice division. See? I so love this stuff. I mean, we can talk, and I'll agree with a lot of those complaints, and God, I got them too about Hearts of Iron 4. And obviously, all this isn't in Hearts of Iron 4, because this is BlackICE. But in fighters, okay. Let's do that. Able to do invasions effectively. And okay, we've got a York class battle cruiser. Don't wanna, well, yeah, that'd be. What might we want to do? Pen caliber. 25. That would be dex. Mistaken. No. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking into this. Remember something about one of the British characters actually, I think, went down in size. Okay, both of them. Illustrious. Oh, okay, size 45, 57, 60. Yeah, the Illustrious goes down, but it's, I think 45 also. There, we're back up to 81. Close enough attention to what. Comparing. Do I even really want to build this or just go on to. Because obviously I needed to make the. Build cost is cheaper, so that's a good thing. Just on that. Range is greatly increased. Okay, so I'm not going to. Well. If I were to increase the deck size, that reduce. Sorry for all this. Not boring you too much, of course. Please be my guest if you are bored with any of this. I'd much rather have you max speed reduces. That is 30. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. One. Give it full. And so when this hopefully is done here, put some of that over there. For this here, build one way or another. Switch over. Always feel free to jump ahead if I'm getting too boring. Whether it's plotting talk or plotting through some of this stuff. Factory. Oh. Light aircraft street. Level 7, good. Illustrious class aircraft carrier, good. Recommission of the HMS Argus. Argus was recommissioned and partially modernized shortly before World War II and served as a training ship for deck landing practices until June 42. By June 1940, 42, the Royal Navy, very short of aircraft carriers, and Argus was pressed into frontline service despite her lack of speed and armament. All right. Now, that in a minute. Yeah, I just want the agility. I want Supermarine. There's okay. Yugoslavia claims Bulgaria, citing foundations of their national union. South flaws recently. Okay, that okay go. France wants to join the Allies. Yes, fine. We all know that you think you have the best food in the world, but looks like roast beef. I like roast beef. Good. Okay, which government idea has been removed because okay. After many years of service, okay, Admiral Chatsfield retires. His upstanding military leader has decided to call it quits. Okay. No, we don't have placement form at the moment. I just used up my. The right is ascendant in France following close to 2 decades of political turmoil. The people of France feel that they have yet to retain what was lost, yet to regain what was lost in the Great War. The French that was just set their sights on reconstructing the French state and re-establish the French greatness. Somewhat of a faded people from their great people. The Bonapartes. Or no, under I mean I said Bonapartes. Boy, Bourbons. The Bourbons. The Bonapartes. Bonaparte definitely created a great empire, but because of his stuff, he really did France. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that I've had, you know, sure that may have sounded odd to French people what I just said, but talks with some of the people on the various forum posts And, some of the, hey, I think we're nation building too much around the world. We, the U.S., because they know I'm an American. Nation building, we need to fix things at home. So I'm for doing stuff at home first. And, I'm thinking, yeah, there's a lot of problems with, the U.S. And, the U.S. shouldn't be involved in every war that happens somewhere on the planet. Absolutely. As in join one side or the other. We should be involved in the sense of every significant nation should sort of like pick a side to some degree and go, hey, these guys are better than those other guys. Now, they both be maybe bad guys and maybe Nazis fighting communists somewhere in the world, but sort of you pick a side a little bit. And, even though you're neutral, you may sort of kind of help out your side, not by like sending troops or anything like that, but, flow of supplies or whatever it might be, simple little things like that. That's one kind of involvement, but I'm talking about sending U.S. troops or U.S. bombers or whatever. The U.S. should not be involved in every war around the world. But once you get to the feeling that we should be involved in none, then you start to really become a diminished nation. And, this is definitely counter to the, not the anti-interventionalists but the sort of I don't know what to call it, the not pacifism, the sort of what right do we have to interfere with other peoples around the world? We're human beings and we have a nation, and we feel that if things are going really bad somewhere, we have the right to get involved militarily. We do have that right as a nation, whatever nation that is. I mean, the U.S., I'm not talking about just the U.S., I'm talking about whatever nation it is. But a lot of nations around the world, and particularly Europe, has decided that they just, why are our people dying somewhere in some foreign lands? And again, I'm not suggesting that everyone should be involved in everything. God, no. But to just retreat back to going, oh, yeah, we're the Netherlands. What are we, we're only going to stay at home and, oh, okay, you're sort of doing the Afghanistan thing. We'll send a couple of companies or battalions or whatever as part of international peacekeeping force. Once you start to have that sort of viewpoint, you really sort of diminish yourself as a nation, because you're, how do I put this? You're just going to be reacting to what goes on in the world, and you are, so you're only reacting, and the world's going to overcome you eventually in one fact. And not necessarily there's going to be Mongols riding over your borders if you don't do anything about it beforehand. But it's sort of the sense that if you are not willing to intervene, and you never intervene anywhere, you never risk a certain segment of your population, then you are going to lose a big impact on the world. And a lot of European nations have done so. Now, I get the reaction. World War II and World War I were terrible things. But you go from France trying to maintain, up here, that was France. They considered that France. And then, now, should that be part of France, or should that be part of Algeria? But you go from trying to maintain that, trying to maintain your colonies in Indochina, okay, you have, sort of Djibouti, and you have out here French Ghana, and you have a couple other little things here, and you just withdraw. And that's sort of what's happened to nations around the world. And of course, yes, some nations like Germany played very badly with other nations. So that's sort of what I'm referring to, is that France has become a shadow of itself, what it used to be. Yeah, I know they're currently helping out here in Niger and other countries out part of the world. Yep, I know that. I do follow the sort of military interventions and actions by nations. I sort of know some of these things. Close air support. Let's try getting some close air support. Now these are early sort of junky aircraft, but let's get. Because I'd rather these other partially deficient. That'll be. I know, speaking as an American, which is definitely part of my viewpoint basis, we like help from some of the other nations once in a while. And yes, absolutely. I know you guys do. Like I was just talking about the French. But I mean bigger commitment. Than just doing what... Because, look, you know, like I just said, I know that France is operating a lot in this area and fighting, including Boko Haram over here in Niger, which is the former French colonies there. What is it? I forget. Oh, the various. I'm sort of blanking without seeing them on the map there. Mali. That's what I'm thinking of. Mali. They're involved in the Mali sort of civil war / anti-Muslim war. They are involved, and their ground troops are on the ground. Who's flying them around mostly? U.S. Air Force. Oh yeah, there was like some of the U.S. troops that got ambushed over here. It was, I think, a French helicopter that came and rescued them. See, again, I do follow this stuff, but most of the long-range flights are with U.S. Global Masters and C5 Galaxies and some of the other big heavy lift craft that basically, I think Britain is, I don't know, have they gotten any of those? They're just flying the Hercules. I forget. But a lot of these big expensive aircraft that the America builds and maintains, European nations just aren't. And they just, I guess, aren't willing to do the defense budget to do it. So yeah, they send, I know it's no longer they send the French Legion. It's, I guess, no longer the Foreign Legion. They send the French Legion and some other sort of elite paratrooper units, you know, not mass conscript, but sort of elite guys that want to go fight out in the desert and want to go fight in harsh places in the world that volunteer for it. So they send some of their citizens out here to do some of this stuff out there. And yes, it's appreciated and it's good, and you're helping defeat the international scourge. But still, budget-wise, oh God, the rest of the people aren't, in most of the countries. Britain is sort of one of the few examples that really does spend a lot of money trying to do some of this, but still. Better reader. Okay, submarine yard level 2 reached. Uniform factory level. Good. Okay, so we've got tribal. Let's also do. I'm just thinking, because here we have this is our escort anti submarine depth charges are better. This where this is 66 torpedo attack and this is 26 torpedo attack, meaning we're going after capital ships, because the only thing that really can hurt a capital ship coming off of a destroyer is your torpedo attack. And yes, if they, and I don't, again, I'm not Axe99, he's a great guy over on the forum. There's also a few other naval experts. I'm not a naval warfare expert, particularly, you know, and I just sort of trust that they're trying to do a good job. I don't dig into the, you know, how well they're doing it. I just sort of know some of the historical, and I sort of know that this is what should, the value you look for, how well you can sink capital ships. Now, how easy is it for them to get close enough to do effective torpedo attack? I don't know. But see, here we have between here and here, build cost is actually a little less here. So we have bombardments of protection. better anti-aircraft. Yeah, let's just skip. Let's skip this. I like it to put them in, but we can also, yeah, we're gonna that read. And so I will readily admit that the reason I'm building like this is I'm just trying to build up a volume of numbers to be a cushion. Once we start taking losses, be cheaper to produce and faster because we're fully developed up on it. Figure get the numbers up, and then once we get to have really good models, I'll convert over to producing those. Industrial effort, good. Yes, Royal Ordnance Factory. Well, we want to get, let's first get this going. Well, at that note, we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for liking the videos. I want to thank you for just watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And like I said before, I really want feedback on, you know, whether it's audio levels, general how it's sounding. I know there really wasn't much game sound. They have the music turned way down. Hear the lightning. I think we're getting that part of, you know, the selection game sound. Okay, but let me know if you think that's, we haven't been hearing like combat noises. Like I say, I have the music turned way down. Partially for fear of mods adding in other music that get a copyright strike for. Part of the reason. But also, not just, you know, comparative levels and other things, so as well as how it's looking visually. So any sort of feedback you can give, I would greatly appreciate that. So thanks so much. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.